Hello, everybody. How are you? That's a pretty casual greeting, isn't it? Well, let me ask you how well rested you feel today. Did you have a good night's sleep? Did you feel ready to face the day? Chances are most of you haven't. At least 55.8% of adults have consumed at least one sleep aid in the past month, according to a survey. Circadian rhythms regulate essential functions such as hormone release, body temperature, sleep, metabolism, and digestion. Sleep disorders are a significant and often under-recognized issue that have a profound impact on an individual's physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Recognizing the signs and symptoms, seeking proper diagnosis, and accessing appropriate treatment options are key steps in managing and overcoming these disorders. Hi, I'm Tej, and in today's episode, I speak with Naomi Mittet, an advocate for people with circadian rhythm sleep disorders. Circadian Sleep Disorders Network, CSDN, is an independent, non-profit organization dedicated to improving the lives of people with chronic circadian rhythm disorders. Welcome to the podcast, Naomi.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
I honestly did not know that there is something that is of such grave, uh, everybody is facing this issue. I myself have sleep issues most of the times. So I'm very, very curious to know what we are going to talk about today.
Great. Yes.
Naomi, tell me what are the specific sleep disorders that your organization focuses on, and why have you chosen to prioritize these particular disorders?
Well, we focus on non 24 sleep wake disorder, um, delayed sleep phase disorder. Those are the two main ones. Delayed sleep phase disorder, also known as, um, they shorten it to DSPD, and that one is a little bit more common. Non 24 sleep phase disorder, sleep wake disorder, sorry. We just shorten it to non 24. That is more common in blind people, but it's pretty rare in the sighted population. But that actually is what my daughter has. And I didn't know for a very long time. There's also advanced sleep phase, which is somebody who that's not really as much of a problem in our society because being an early bird is looked highly upon because you can get more
Yes.
a day, so that's not much of an issue for people who if their body clock has them not feeling tired. Like from I'm actually the delayed
Hmm.
phase type of person. And
Hmm.
I didn't realize that until I found out about my daughter's non 24. So I just always thought, I'm a night owl, and I didn't know why. My mother is the same way. So I do think there's a genetic component, but that hasn't necessarily been proven. There are a lot of genetic tests going on uh, to try to prove that. Um, So cited
So
non-24.
let me
Oh,
let
yes, go ahead.
sorry to interrupt you, but could you just explain what is non-24 and delayed sleep disorder? Delayed sleep I kind of get because you are not sleeping at the appropriate time. You're probably sleeping well into the night. And what is non-24?
So non-24 would mean somebody's body clock that will, like for my daughter, for example, her days are like 25 hours long, maybe a little bit longer. So her sleep
Uh-huh.
time will advance an hour each day. It's basically like having chronic jet lag. If you're not,
Oh,
yeah. And so if you're not allowed to follow that your body's natural rhythm, then you will become very sleep deprived. But there will also be times, there are times when she's like right now today she fell asleep around 3 p.m. yesterday it was 2 p.m., tomorrow it will be 4 p.m. But there are times when her wake up time is like most other people in society.
Hmm.
So that's what makes it so hard to diagnose because, sometimes they're fine, other times they're exhausted. And she used to, fall asleep in class. Um,
Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, that changes the entire system, isn't it? When to go to school, when to study, when to sleep, when to eat. And not only that person, but also the family is affected.
yes, that is right. That is right. And it really was by chance that I happened to find out about it. Um, as much as you know, I'm not always so positive about social media sites, but I was in a Facebook group and another mother had mentioned it, and just by chance I read her comment, and I thought, well, that sounds a
Hmm.
lot like my kid, and so I started researching it, and then that's how I came upon the nonprofit that I'm a board member of now, the Circadian Sleep Disorders Network, and everything clicked. And I just did a lot of research about it, and I actually decided to start homeschooling my child because I realized it just explained why it was so hard to get her up in the morning sometimes.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
we had so many issues with the school. No blame on the school district or anything, or the schools. They were great. This is just such a rare
Hmm.
thing. So I let her follow her own body
It,
clock, and
yeah,
things got a
it can be challenging. I totally get it. It can be very challenging. Now, what does the organization do, and what are the resources that you provide to people who are affected or people just to create awareness about this?
well, we do a lot of different things. Right now, all the board members, we are all people who live with circadian rhythm sleep disorder, either the delayed sleep phase 1 or non 24. And in my case, we have both. I mean, I have experience with both. So we do a lot of advocacy work online. We have support groups on Facebook. We have a support group. We have other social media pages where we share information, articles. Um, we also do, advocacy for people who might need some support. Uh, like recently, I actually helped a university student with writing to her university about trying to explain what non 24 is. And she's a
Mm-hmm.
sighted person,
Mm-hmm.
um, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's just not well known yet. And what happens
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of times people feel like there's some a mental health issue maybe, or they feel like their doctors don't know what it is, so they're not really, sometimes they're not believed, or they're told they have a mental health issue, or it's just insomnia. So it can get very
Mm-hmm.
frustrating for people who have, I would say, especially the non 24. I think the delayed sleep phase is more accepted nowadays. It's more known than the non 24 for sighted people.
Yeah.
If somebody's blind,
So
oh,
I would
sorry.
sorry. So no, my question is when you approach, like you said, the university student wrote to her university explaining the process. What is the first reaction you get from the person? Is it that of skepticism, or is it oh something like that doesn't exist?
Actually, because I spent I spent 4 years researching, especially during the pandemic. I kept a sleep log of my daughter's sleep at that time, and this was before the diagnosis. She just got diagnosed last fall, but I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
feel very confident in my knowledge of it, so that when I did go to speak to people about it, that I would be able to say, I know for a fact that this is real, and I have these,
Mm-hmm.
this is what my own experience is with it. And um, so the person who comes asking for some support, they might just feel so disheartened and so frustrated, and so they just, sometimes it's hard for them to really think clearly. Um, And a lot of times people give up because once they're just told,
Yeah.
no, that's only with blind people, or no, you have it's a mental health issue, or you just have insomnia, you're not trying hard enough. um, they just get so down about it that they just want to just stop. This is a
Mm-hmm.
very debilitating. It's very debilitating. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally, yes, I can understand. Try not sleeping one night and you see how your next day is. It's terrible. You are not productive at all. Forget productive. You're not even able to function normally on that day. Everyday chores also seem to be a task. Let's take a break to understand what Chezuba is. Everyone at some point ponders on how this beautiful life can be made more meaningful. Maybe you're a leader trying to enhance your employees' experience at your organization. Or you already work for the community and seek volunteers with state of the art skills to strengthen your nonprofit. Whatever your situation, know that you can make a difference. Chezuba began with this very vision, a vision to facilitate every skill and every passion in the world in meeting a social need. Corporate volunteering has several benefits for both businesses and organizations. In parallel, experienced and enthusiastic volunteers join NGO workers, enabling them to serve the community more effectively. Chezuba offers everyone looking to add purpose and meaning to their lives a chance to connect or volunteer virtually with nonprofit organizations from over 100 countries around the world. Visit www.chezuba.net and explore opportunities to find meaning. Chezuba, your platform to do good. And now, back with our guest. But tell me, Naomi, where do you see this going? Do you expect some policy changes, or do you expect some people to have societies, or do you have a campaign to ensure that more people are aware of what is happening to them?
Yes, actually, very soon, next month, in the first week of June, there will be a sleep conference, Sleep 2023, and we will have a booth there. We will also have one of our board members speaking. She'll be speaking about delay in diagnosis. And basically, that's what I was just talking about, and how it's just so hard. It may take many times before somebody can get an actual diagnosis. And that's some of it has to
Mm.
do with finding the right person. Um, Often, if it's a sleep specialist who also has been trained in neurology, they will usually
Mhm.
have a good understanding of what this is,
Mhm.
um, what these disorders are, because it's neurological. It's happening.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the brain, and
Okay, so my question is, when you say neurological, is it also exacerbated by technology, by blue screens, by looking at? I don't know. I'm just wondering because that is generally the case where people say that you're looking too much at a screen or you're reading too much on your mobile phone.
there is. I would say there are mixed thoughts about that. As far as I know, like the blue light, it can affect people, definitely. But if somebody's looking at their phone for a little bit before they go to bed, because sometimes it helps people, just clear out their thoughts or whatever. I do it, but um, it's usually going to maybe affect you like for 10 minutes. Like you might stay up an extra 10 minutes. It's not going to make you stay up,
Mm.
an hour or two later. Um,
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends. I mean, a lot of people say, you should try to not look at those things 30 minutes before you go to bed. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
helpful. But the main thing is also that it's not really light as much as the activity that it has your brain involved in. It's kind of, sending signals, excitement signals. And so your brain it makes it much harder to just relax and go to sleep. Um,
Mm-hmm.
some of the some of the research, like at Oxford, they have done tests about that. Um,
Yeah.
and
So I think there's an entire industry waiting out there, isn't it, with all the sleep devices, putting on the mask or melatonin, for example. All these industries will benefit from what is happening right now. But what my entire focus would be is how does a person diagnose himself or herself
Mm-hmm.
to understand that they are going through this and seek medical help or seek some kind of professional help. So your organization is helping do that.
Yes, yes, we can definitely tell people what they need to do to help them get a diagnosis properly. Um, Such as, well, sleep logs are very important. If you can keep a journal and write down the time you fell asleep and the time that you wake up, at least for 2 weeks. In my case, I went a little overboard. I did it for 4 years for my daughter, but um, it's really helpful if they can have a good amount of time. 2 weeks, a month is even better. 2 months even better.
Hmm.
Um, you can just do it on paper. And then there are some apps that you can use where you can put that information in and it will create a graph. People are also, there are a lot of things that you can wear, that people wear now on their wrist, and when they're sleeping, you can
Right.
track your sleep and wake time. And those have actually been very helpful for people to get a diagnosis. They can show that information as well. Now, the only thing is with delayed sleep phase, it's if you're going, like, for me, my sleep time where I feel quite awake at nighttime, and then maybe 3 or 4 a.m. is like pretty common time for me to go to
Hmm.
sleep if I'm just allowed to go on my own body clock.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
for my daughter, when if I had not been letting her just follow her body clock and she was still trying to get up to go to school, the results would have been different on the sleep journals that I kept. And so, if somebody really wants an accurate diagnosis, they will need to not have any interruptions for at least 2 weeks, and
Hmm.
then they wear an actigraphy device, um,
Hmm.
and that will track. There are other things that they make as well, but usually that's what my daughter had to wear, an actigraphy device, and
Okay.
she wore it for 2 weeks, and it would record her sleep time and her wake time. Um, and so the doctor was able to read that information, and he could confirm, yes, that she has the non-24.
Right.
Um, so
Right.
yes, sleep logs are very important, and that's the other thing. It's just so hard for people to have that much time to sleep when they
Hmm.
need to, following their body clock. Because if you're working or going to school, it's pretty hard to take off 2 weeks. I suppose you could, use your vacation time to do it. But yeah, that's to make it accurate. That is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lastly, tell me, Naomi, do you measure the impact of your reach out, or do you monitor some kind of progress with the people who are approaching you? Do you have members, so to say?
Well, we have, yes, we have members who join, and the fee is it's a sliding scale, basically. So if some That's the another thing, is a lot of people who have such as non-24, it's very hard to find work. Uh, or if you do find
Hmm.
work, it's going to be something that might not be full time, or it might not be something that will be a
True.
job that can bring in, a lot of money. So it really, I mean, some people find their niche where they, maybe they can do like something related to software, like programming or something. They can do it at home in their own time, but not everybody wants to do that kind of work. Um,
Yeah.
but yes,
Yeah.
we do have members, and on the website there's a place to you can join online through PayPal. Usually, we also accept
Okay.
checks, which that's old school, but yeah, we'll
Sure.
still take a check. So
Wonderful. Great. It was lovely talking to you, Naomi. And I hope more people come out with the problems that they're facing and approach you. And maybe there's some kind of support that comes out from networking.
yeah, I hope so. I've been trying to do a lot of networking myself online, and Um, we also have a survey that we're working on the paper for that and hope to have that published.
Uh-huh.
Um, so that's a big deal as well. So we will have something for, the science community to be able to look at. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Great, that was a lovely talk.
Thank you.
So, there is also a need for policy changes, for increased understanding and funding for research as well, to understand the importance of healthy sleep habits. By working together, nonprofit organizations, healthcare professionals, researchers, and individuals who are connected can make a collective effort to address this issue of sleep disorders comprehensively. And I think by shining a light on sleep disorders and promoting the significance of quality sleep, I'm sure everybody understands the importance of quality sleep. We all must strive towards a society where restful and rejuvenating sleep is a priority. That goes a long way in leading healthier and happier lives. Thank you, Naomi. It was wonderful talking to
Thank
you.
you so much. I appreciate this.